Welcome back to some of the most professional StarCraft 2, the Homestory Cup 22, a winter's dream. Grand finals, and yes, a dream finals for me indeed. Let me introduce the fastest player in StarCraft 2, the Italian Stallion. So apparently we're calling him the Reynor now. I'm going to have to figure out exactly why, because I don't want to misinterpret it, but it's Reynor. Battling his way here against an even more unlikely. Well, Reynor was not unlikely at all, but we have the, I'm going to say it, now the best player from the United States of America. It is Astrea. Astrea, yes. Continuing the trend of top tier American Protoss. He actually took on, well, pretty much every player you could think who would be here. Astrea beat him. I don't think he beat Serral, actually. Jean did that for him. But Byun, other people, like, Astrea's been on a tear recently. I love telling his story somewhat. Like, he went from a mid-GM ladder hero about 5 years ago to, in several years of incredibly hard work, training in Korea, competing in GSL, and now solidly a top-tier contender. He's not quite in that, like, it's still surprising to see him in those tournament finals, but he can hang with anyone. Reynor is a bit of a tall order, though. Reynor, no stranger, world champion himself. So definitely a major threat. All right. Adepts. Shading across. What will Astrea do? This is not the newest PTR patch yet. This will be probably the last major tournament on the old StarCraft 2, so you can have your own opinions about what we got coming up. But it is a best of 5, but I believe the way it works is if Astrea wins, we play another best of 5 because Reynor did come through the winner's bracket. So that is a bit of an odd format, but I like it better than the giving one player a game in like a best of 7. I've never been a fan of that. I do feel when it comes to brackets, maybe just reset it. Like, okay, you went through the winner's bracket, but this is the final. Start at 0, but tournaments have different ways of rewarding players for... I guess if you don't lose any series, you should get a benefit, but... because that way, well, these adepts. Astrea losing 1, but gets beyond the mineral line. Okay, it wasn't that exciting. Didn't need to stop my meta commentary for one adept getting caught. I threw myself completely off track. I guess, yeah, if Astrea wins a series, then Reynor has lost a series and we start at even again. It did make... it has made for some of the most epic comebacks, though, in SC2 history. We got a couple oracles into Robo Twilight Forge, so that tells the whole story here. Astrea is not really a timing Protoss. He is more of that macro toss, that shield Protoss style, popularized by Stats, Showtime, and to an extent, Neeb. Those who don't know, Neeb, well, he didn't get as far in this. Did he participate? I believe he did participate in Homestory Cup. But Neeb is going back to school to learn Terran. No, he started as Terran, switched to Protoss and Legacy of the Void. But so he's not playing or practicing as full time now. Though he's still. It's not like you lose everything you learned, but he's not a full-time player anymore, which is a bold choice, but probably a smart one. He's still on the younger side of things. And it's very hard to do, I know from experience, to make that decision. I know from someone who decided not to. Me. So. Well. So now we see exactly how much a shield... A little late on that one. Reynor moving back at the exact moment the overcharge popped. Gets the adept anyways. Reynor chilling. Averaging 613 actions per minute here, and we're just getting warmed up. He's not a slow player. Immortal on the way. Charge. We got a macro game 1 here. Cosmic Sapphire does have a tendency to have our longest games. And some of our most dramatic ones. A lot of the time, why Zerg usually comfortable with that extra time to deal with any sort of attacks coming in, the rush distance being longer, and also the bonus resource bases. You got the rich Vespine base to the north, the gold base to the southwest. I like using cardinal directions, like north, south, east, west, you know those. Instead of like 6 o'clock. It makes it sound more dramatic, like you're like a military campaign as opposed to a timing attack. It's like he's got the 9 o'clock 3 base timing. Well, how boring is that? Like, I don't even wake up till 11, so. Well, Archon drop, roaches just hanging out. No roach speed. A bit of everything speed on the way for Reynor now. He's got roach speed. Overlord speed, Baneling speed. There's a reason that every unit has a speed upgrade to Zerg because closing the distance. Creep is a speed upgrade for every unit on the ground. What are these Overlords doing? He's starting like, what the hell? Is this a creep highway situation? Why you just sent like 8 Overlords over here? He's gonna... Doesn't even have the creep activated. All it takes is a click, but... Maybe Overlord should automatically begin spreading the creep once Lair finishes. That would probably give him away. Hey, maybe you could turn off the auto cast or something. I don't know. Either way. Wow, Reynor has... Well, that's creep spread indeed. There's quite a highway here. Brenda's knitting crew coming together. 4 queens. He got it. I think 8.5 minutes. He is on the doorstep here. And Banelings from the back line. Disruptor shot. Big connection. Archons falling back. Battery overcharge. Gonna lose 1 or 2 Archons to start, but here comes Reynor again. The Immortals standing tall, but down goes the battery, and with it, some probes. Is there enough Roach Ravager left over here? The answer? Well... the answer is a solid as there's not enough Roach Ravager to break through. He's gonna need more Banelings, very likely, in order to open things up. The Banelings soaking damage as well as dealing it. Astrea holding strong so far, but is there a follow-up? Is he just going to keep trying to defend and getting battered down? Because Reynor is sitting at, well, they're both sitting at 80-something workers here. Huge economies. Is that air weapons? Oh, we see where he wants to go now eventually. Whole bunch of Lings and Banes on the left flank. A few more cannons, more zealots warped in, some stalkers as a backstop, but the most important thing is happening here. The disruptor shot. Immortal taking most of the hits. A good disruptor, not great though, as he only ends up clipping a Ravager. Banelings out of nowhere, 19 probes down. Astrea still has a solid count, but it was the tail end of that attack. The +2 Banelings, one-shotting probes, 19 of them obliterated. 22 more Banes on the way. Yes, there's +1 air, but Astrea does actually have to rebuild probes now. Gotta be careful with stacking them up like that. That's a lot of Archons. +2 attack is done. Lings and Banes, not a huge threat to those Archons, but of course they're not the most maneuverable creatures. Astrea under siege here in game 1. Roach Ravager alters his course to this left side base. There's going to need to be a more dramatic defense, but here come the Banelings rolling in. The probes just rebuilt. He's going to shoot his own probes. Cuts off his arm in order to save the rest. And even his Archon's getting hit by the disruptors. But 10 probes died on the other... 10 drones died, rather, on the other side. Some zealots being whooped in. Finally, some counter damage for the American. He gets 11 drones and pulls back a lot of the lings. And any sort of space here is required. Reynor was battering him down. He was 1 or 2 more waves away from breaking down everything. But Astrea is able to hold on. But look at the army supply. 67 to 120. But that is an intimidating 67 right there. Oh, he fires every disruptor and he shoots himself in the face. Astrea! It's a disaster. He fired every disruptor, including the one trailing behind the army. And this is why the disruptor nerf is a buff for Protoss. In some ways. I don't... I don't know. Like, the Warp Prism will live, but that needed to be the attack. Reynor has everything now. I mean, it's a dramatic fight, but this is death throes at the moment for Astrea. If Reynor was doing fine, 4 or 5 base versus 4 or 5 base, Astrea losing that critical mass of units. Yep. Those disruptors hit hard. Not remotely hard enough. Reynor ends at 656 APM and rising. He hadn't even finished his upgrades. It wasn't even his final form. Astrea getting overrun in Game 1. Definitely a shaky start for the American Protoss. God, that was pretty rough to watch. Reynor is an intimidating opponent. The sheer amount of units he was putting on the field, and so quickly. Reynor. What do you do? I think Astrea's got to try something. We got a Glaive to Depths, DTs, you gotta slip some Protoss in there. I know I say it like that, but I'm not confident in a long-term kind of just full-on macro game, because pretty much nothing happened. That was your standard sit back, build 3-4 bases, and it was all Reynor. Yeah, for those of you that missed it, because you were probably listening to the lilting sound of my voice instead of the actual words, it was 656 APM. It was also on the screen. We had a bet in Twitch chat, but of course I could have said 812 and nobody would have vetted it, so. Or 900, it could have been anything. Past like 300 doesn't even mean anything anymore. I don't know. Like and subscribe. Nothing early here. Reynor? Why? If it ain't broke. I bet Reynor is one of those players who will just do an all-in. Even if the perfect standard middle-of-the-road macro build is working. Roach timing. 12 pulls, something like that. Just mixing it up for the sake of it. Astrea? Well, we'll see if he has any other cards to play. Like, there is not too much more. There's not much more dramatic. Let me restart. We'll edit that part out. There's not much more of a dramatic indicator of failure than literally shooting yourself with your own disruptor. Like, shotgun blasting off your own, Dick Cheneying that one. The Immortal is very upset. The Stalkers died. I think it hit an Archon. Twilight Council. Maybe the Glaives this time. I like that choice. I think Glaives are a good middle ground between potential damage and difficult defense. They've always been a real struggle for Zerg to find that happy balance. There is no super outright. He's not starting the Glaives, though. Uh-oh. He started the Robo. Oh. Oh, wait a second. How much gas is he mining? Oh, that's good. Okay. There's he got the gateways behind. This is like a mass Glaives build. Okay. That's gonna be a lot of adepts. Will Reynor get the Roach Horn on time? Technically, you can defend with Lingbane, but it is tenuous at best. You get to the wrong angle, those adepts get jammed in the mineral line or something. Oh, you're gonna have a bad time. So, we'll see when Reynor's Roach Horn starts. I assume it will. There's the Dark Shrine behind. The more dramatic direction. There's the... Wow. Yeah, right at 4 minutes. Right before. Reynor not taking any chances here. Not cutting any corners. He's already got Zerglings on the way. He's only at 37 drones. That is... He's below Astrea's probe count, but that is kind of necessary to shut down this sort of early adept play. The real balance is when you start droning again. Oh, here come the Glaives. 3 seconds. Warp Prism, gonna get another round. 3 more adepts warped in. I believe there's already some, at least a couple spores. No spores yet, actually. Oh, wait a second. Oh. Is he really selling him this hard on the Glaives? There's no third. That's gotta set some alarm bells off. I've seen Reynor defend DTs with no detection before. But it's never great. Like, it doesn't come for free. The body blocks at some point are not worth it. Oh my god. Astrea. There were no spores! He's just gonna go for the queens. Oh, this is such a missed opportunity. The meat shield here. He didn't notice there were no spores. He could have gone straight in and maybe even killed the hatch. If he gets to the spore, but... Astrea so far, not really finding the opportunities. The only benefit he's had is Reynor completely unprepared for this. The panic reaction, the body block, and the early Twilight plays give Astrea a nice position economically, at least compared to your usual Protoss versus Zerg. The Archon drop cannot really be dealt with directly, as you can't really come across the map when he has that Prism and an Archon, because he'll just get lasered down the entire way. So Astrea will secure his third with a comparable economy, and he'll be able to move into your mid-game composition comfortably. So overall, definitely didn't make the most of his opportunity, but he did make something out of it. And that's a good start for Astrea. You can't rely on your opponent not having detection. That is not a tier 1 tournament champion strategy. Though at the same time, if you notice they don't have it, you should also take advantage of that. So both sides of the same coin, I say, from my comfortable seat far back behind these players. Disruptor on the way. Disruptor, the unit of choice for many Protoss to deal with these roach balls. Honestly, Storm too expensive. You've already got the Dark Shrine, you can get Archons from that, getting a Templar Archives, and really Storm is the only other option for killing units en masse. Ah yes, the clown show. I mean, the juggling begins. As the Zerglings are chased down by the Blink Prism. Zergling spotting the fourth that Astrea wants to take. Beautiful timing by Reynor. He knows. And that gives this away. Wow, he starts a Spire. Okay. Reynor opting for the Mutas, potentially. And against someone who didn't open Stargate, there is no real built-in defense. Archons, not known for their agility. Blink Stalkers, not that great of a counter against Mass Mutalisks, or even against a few, because they are not supply efficient at all against the Mutas. You have to keep them in your base, start blinking around. If Astrea sees the Spire, of course, he can find a timing, but I don't think Reynor's going to sit back and relax. As you see now, he's at 75 drones. He's already banging on the doorstep, knocking down the rocks. How many kills? Let me see the Archon. Put that Archon down. I need to check the kill count. 24 and counting. Okay, not as dramatic as I thought. But it's still quite good and almost untouchable. Still nothing indicating Astrea suspects Mutas. He has a cannon in the main and the third. The third is more like a regular defense cannon, but this is not a I think Mutas are coming defense. This is a maybe 5 Mutas show up and I can kind of deal with it. There are 14 Mutalisks in the production tab. Astrea is not prepared. There's going to have to be some very, very hard decisions here. Wow! Reynor canceled the Mutas that were about to pop to maintain that element of surprise a little longer. Oh my. Reynor, a clever player. He's still hiding them. He's waiting. When will he reveal the Mutas? There's some more Stalkers warping in, but no cannons, no batteries. He still hasn't seen them. Reynor has hidden the Mutas. He's waiting for his moment. He's maxed out. This is the moment. It doesn't get better than this. You're maxed out. There's nothing left to do. Templar Archive starts. There is no Stargate. How many? 18 Mutalisks. They're spotted, but it's panic time. Oh no. I don't think he even noticed. Let's go to the Astrea cam. Oh no. Looks at his bases, realizes, well, I got one shot, one opportunity. Reynor countering disruptors with banelings, which is certainly a choice. There's still a wall of Archons. He manages to juggle a Ruptor back, but Reynor dodges it. The Archons are being whittled down. Well, disruptors are recharging. A bunch of charge lots come in and close the distance from the north side. The disruptors have recharged. The Mutas are still a huge threat. The disruptors are not getting the job done, but the rest of the units are still finding some... Reynor has more bases to work with, though. This army is not... he gets the Cyber Core. This army is being whittled down. It's a handful of charge lots, maybe a DT in there. He's going to get the base, but... Well, the Mutas. Still the flying rat in the room. The Mutas, very kind of an old school base trade scenario where Astrea's army can win the fight, but the Mutas are likely able to win the war. We'll see. Roaches are not great against good Blink Stalker micro and any amount of Archons. Some charge slots warping in because he doesn't have a Cyber Core to do anything else. But Reynor might be demonstrating why Mutas are usually a dicey choice at best. Reynor was maxed out and ready to go, and he's still struggling to beat this army as the Mutas did not fight with the rest. He's got 30-something supply. He's going to 40 supply of Mutas, and suddenly Astrea. Oh, God, the charge lots find the drones. Astrea's broken through. Reynor has 10 drones. What happened? What's going on? 69 drone kills! Don't ruin it. Thank you. 69! That is nice damage! Oh my god! Wow! Well, Mutas just don't kill things that quick. So now we're in one of the most awkward... Neither of them are really doing great. There's nothing that can kill the mutas. Well, they have to catch them to kill them, obviously. At the same time, Astrea is the only one with a ground army. So we may be in a full-on base trade here. I'm really surprised the mutas have not scouted for the third game. He might magic box, but instead he actually just gets caught here. Oh, those Archons. Those Archons are killable. He's being very careful. One Archon really changes the whole equation here. Roach Ravager, he wants to fight these Archons, but there's the Prism. The Prism is he gets the Prism, but the splash damage. He's trying to split. Well, the Muta count. There's no anti-air for Astrea. There's nothing. Well, he has probes. There's no. He has to warp in DTs to make Archons, and it feels like it took him a second to think about that. Or maybe not. He's gonna go. Oh, the probes are coming back. What is happening? Did Astrea just grab defeat from the jaws of victory? Grab from the jaws of defeat in this circular food chain of a game? Or maybe the other way around? I don't... Well, Astrea still has probes. The DTs are continually keeping Reynor's worker count at near non-existence. Well, there's still pieces on the board. It's not checkmate. The problem is, if Astrea had a single Stargate, one Phoenix could technically kill all these mutas. But he does not have a Stargate. Does he even have a Cyber Core? No. So that really does make making a Stargate difficult. He's warping in High Templar. He's gonna have a Warp Prism for a single Archon. It looks like he's... Does he have another DT to make Archons with? No, he doesn't have the gas. A single Archon Prism. But the Prism comes out. Oh, no. Well, that's a bit disastrous. That thing is not cheap. He's building probes. I don't know if building probes is the plan now. The cannon getting some shot. There are some zealots on the other side. But now there's enough roaches. I think there's enough roaches. Yeah. There might be enough roaches to actually win this fight. There's a DT doing some extra damage here. The mutas are fighting. Shield battery overcharge for now. The DT is the only thing standing between Astrea and Oblivion. Reynor can't afford an Overseer, which is why he hasn't built one. He doesn't have the gas to build an Overseer. That is the world we live in. Astrea doesn't have anything. And Reynor... 627 APM for those counting. And also, apparently... Oh my... I don't know. Match point. One game from winning Homestory Cup 22. Reynor with the a brouhaha of confusion. Using, like, forcing mutas in the same way I forced that sentence. And it ends up just barely working. Astrea, I'll be honest, he's looking a bit outclassed on this one. His style is super solid, but it's crumbling as the lings and the roaches and the mutas slip through. Those gaps widen in the chasms. And it doesn't make anything easier. And here it is. We're on waterfall. Here's your like 14, 15 pool. Pool first. Not super all-in cheese yet. No gas. But a little bit spicy. How do you respond to this, Astrea? He's gonna flirt with the minerals and try to deny tiny amounts of them, which is, you know, typical probe move. As the minerals will say, "I'm taken" to the drone, and the drone will go look for new ones unless you actually micro it, because of course the mineral patch doesn't discriminate. Is that how we want to wall off on this map? He knows it's an early pool. Is this what we're doing? Didn't want to build another gate yet, and he needs another pylon. Pylon in the wall does get a strong reaction out of Zerg. Sometimes literally, always emotionally. Says that you're not supposed to do that, all right? That's wrong. It's a weak and sad wall for weak and sad players. Okay? That's just a science fact. It looks like you look at that, you almost can't help but build a Baneling nest. Even if you know it's the most predictable thing. You see the Stargate. As a Zerg player, I'm looking at that like, when was the last time we saw Banelings, though? Zergling speed on the way. Did Reynor pull off gas? He did. He did. He resisted the urge for now. For now. What's it going to be out of the Stargate? He's got money for a Void Ray. Oracle. Okay. The usual. He's going to have that Stalker. I think, well, that Overlord knows what's coming. Oh my god. What? Oh my god. The positioning! Ah! Did he notice? Reynor! He used the vision blocker against him for long enough that the Overlord... I can't... I'm unironically saying this, but Reynor's Overlord micro is top-notch. Because technically, I believe that's a little vision blocker, so you can't actually see over it unless you're off to the side. It gives... I mean, pretty much exactly for that moment is why that exists. Well, Oracle comes in. We'll get one drone burning through a spore. Decides on the larva. Gets the larva. Big win. Okay. Very small man. Big win for a small person. Edit that out. Twilight Council. More gates. What is this? What in the hell is this? Alright. This is like the IKEA showroom. It's like, would you like... Here's our 3 pylon setup. It's very in vogue. It looks... like... You're not... This is wrong. It's wrong. It's offensive. Well, at least it's definitely not defensive, because that is the most vulnerable wall you can build. Three probes, 3 drones, sorry. go down. Roach Horn's on the way. It looks like Reynor is winding up for that mass roachling. Astrea is opting for... Let me see. Let's move the camera so we can actually see it. Astrea has his ground army coming together. Forge. Blink. Chrono Boost. Production tab. Oracles still very much a presence and kind of denying any opportunity for Reynor to move out until he has a much larger amount of units. That's the benefit the Oracles have. Astrea, he keeps taking these quick fourths. 6 minutes setting this one up. Here comes the token Stalker attack, which shouldn't do anything unless Reynor literally has no units. Unfortunately for Reynor, he has no units. He got supply blocked a bit when he lost to Novi. He's still kind of supply blocked with only 16 lings on the way. Blink, he's using it to blink down. The Oracles could get involved as well, especially once he blinks back. He can prevent the retreat. He called his bluff a bit here, and the Blink Stalker micro is pretty impressive. There's a handful of Zerglings coming up, but wow, really working this angle here. Beautifully done by Astrea, and look at the real win here is the worker count. He's added another round of Stalkers. He warps them into his base, which is not too far away. He's blinking back, trying to bait. Oh, Rainer's reaction time is so good. Oh my god. That split second he had. In the timing it takes for the stasis to activate, he saved his game there. Jeez. If he gets like half those Zerglings caught, they act as a force field and remove most of his army. At the same time, though, Astrea is in the supply lead with Blink Stalker, so it might not be a... What? He smelled the flank. Or he just saw it. I'm not sure which one. Still going to be very cost-effective back here with the Oracles, but... He actually... One of the... I got a big compliments, especially for me. I am the first person to complain about Protoss players recalling too little and too late. If you're gonna do it, that's the time. Right as your opponent is finally putting together the defenses, but before the fight actually starts, so you can successfully get the recall off without losing half your army. Beautifully done. And even if maybe he could have won the fight, he definitely could have gotten that recall off. So I think that really does define Astrea as a player. He's a careful player. He's not taking risks. The problem is, he's just not been fast enough to keep up with Reynor. That has been the struggle. But he's slowed Reynor down a lot. Look at that probe. 89 probe. He's slowed Reynor down a lot in this process. Reynor is sitting at... he just got to 80 drones, which is a lot. But he just now starting the hive as well. Which... All the gates are about to come online. Did he not have a robo? He didn't have a robo, so he couldn't add a prism. Which is a little bit of a mistake, I think, from Astrea, but he's going to be able to max out at a comparable timing to what Reynor has. And before Lurker upgrades, before any Vipers, or at least very likely, so we should have a solid timing here with maxed out Protoss. Yeah, he doesn't have a ton of big splash damage, he just has a few Archons. But... he's got a real opportunity to take a decisive fight. There's the Prism. At this point, there's no waiting for the Prism. You just bring the Prism out when you can. And warp in otherwise. There is a Stargate, but he hasn't added on a Fleet Beacon or any upgrades yet. So we are not looking at a carrier transition quite yet. 8 Lurkers. Oh, there's the Stasis. Add another one. Stop right there, criminal Zerg. That's enough. So, do we go forward or back? There's like about 20 seconds of no or significantly reduced Zerglings. A huge counterattack here. Oh no, he was on a move command though. And that means the Zealots get completely surrounded. The Zerglings do as well, but they run a lot faster. Astrea not quite taking advantage of this opportunity. Though, for the first time in this series, he has the advantage overall. He has a better army. He has more of it with a solid economy behind. And he's got so much. Yes, there are going to be lurkers, which are a major threat. But on their own, he doesn't actually care. Lurkers on their own are not enough. Especially without any of their upgrades. The stasis cover the retreat. The zealots are in the mineral line. The queens have to fight. Not particularly great against Jarzla. Another queen down. So many Zerg. The stasis have been the real MVPs. Just locking out some of these Zerg. The lurker upgrades have finished up. He's gonna eliminate the Zerglings. 6 more lurkers on the way. A warp prism in between the bases. I don't know if Reynor realized what was happening there, but... Adaptive talents. Decent revelation. Doesn't get everything here, but going in. You want to be as much as you can minimize the concentration of lurker spawns that are spread out. The concave becomes the most important thing against the lurkers, and that does allow Zerg to kind of turn the tables on choke points. Usually Zerg players are going for this around, but with lurkers you want to concentrate as much as you can. Well, Outward Prism. Oh. Well done by Astrea, finding the only safe angle. Right down the... Oh, come on. Did it get out? No, it died. It died. But it was... Oh my god, he's fighting, but Archons are just bashing through. They can tank the hits. The lurkers are not doing enough to stop them. Any sort of concave, and the Archons just don't take enough damage from the lurkers. They only do bonus damage to armored. And Archons are not armored. They only have plot armor and a bunch of anger. 300 shields. Mostly the shields, really. Astrea splits his army into like 4 different parts right now. He's the one playing more like a Zerg. And look at that money in the bank, too. The lurkers are scrambling around trying to find an angle. But he's being contained by Astrea, who hasn't been able to take a 5th, but is now banking comfortably gas. He's working towards his carrier transition. Astrea has yet to he has not been able to break the lurkers, but he might not need to. If Reynor is unable to ever move out of his bases, the big mistake a lot of Protoss players make is trying to outright kill the lurkers. Like, attempting the ground army, and then going to carriers. If you do that, you give an opportunity for the lurkers to do a counterattack and get damage down. Wow, those lings do a lot of damage. +3 cracklings. Adrenal glands. Plus 40% attack speed. The highest DPS. Nope. Good thing they can't jump in the water there. The stasis on the lurkers. Reynor trying to use that opportunity to move out with the lurkers, but the oracles say, slow down there, young man. You're going too fast. That's a lot of Archons. The lurker's already retreating from the fight. This is shaping up to be quite a great game. Astrea playing his careful style, and Reynor unable to deal with it so far. Some of the lurkers getting caught on the way back, but the Archons getting sliced up as well. Get over here! Yeah, he gets a couple back. Astrea's building carriers throughout this, though. And that wasn't an outright win. That was a good trade, but that was definitely not a decisive victory for Reynor. He can't just switch up his entire unit composition. And in fact, he's been convinced. He is convinced that Astrea is building a ground army. And you know how I know? Because he just morphed all but 3 Hydras into lurkers. Lurkers suffering from a severe lack of anti-air. Oh god, this could be a carrier GG game, where the carriers show up and the Zerg goes out. Because right now, right as Reynor finally gets the lurker count, oh my god, he has to circle back with that disruptor, never a great sign. Right as the lurkers get into a dangerous position, the carriers can be revealed. Ooh. Just chargelets aren't going to cut it. He finds the lurker, storms wash over everything, a tsunami of splash damage. The Vipers are too far behind. The Archons, blinding cloud, not nearly enough. The Archons snap up the lurkers, and even before the carriers are revealed, the lurkers on the open field collapsed upon by the Protoss. And down they go, crumbling. Reynor loses almost everything on that side of the map. He's lost 22 lurkers this game. And this is before the carriers have showed up. Astrea has slowly but surely worked himself into a winning position. He's got checkmate. He just has yet to reveal it. It's more like a poker game. He has yet to show his cards. And definitely a more accurate metaphor for StarCraft, or analogy, or whatever you want to argue about on that front. But Reynor sitting thinking he's holding on, but guess what? Carriers have arrived. Surprisingly, we'll be forced back for a moment because he can't see the lurkers. Now he can. There's no reason to hold back. There's no... the queens are nothing. Hydras have +1. So do the carriers. There's Storm, Disruptors, Feedback. Lurkers working through. Reynor with a great fight. Those are +3 Banes. Those probes are not going to make it. 26 probes down. Reynor scrapping out whatever damage he can. But it's not going to be enough. The carriers are going to come to defend. Unless Astrea makes some massive blunders in the next minute. There's nothing to stop the carriers. Hydras will not do it. He is struggling to actually deal with these lurkers. But look at Reynor's money. This is all he has. He can't put anything else out there. Oh my god. That Archon. Reynor, when backed into a corner, becomes incredibly dangerous. But there's no answer. Disruptors chasing drones. 50 probes have died in the last minute. That is an insane number. But Astrea still has 40. Oh my, fires a volley. There's not enough Vipers. There's not enough Umbrellas. And that's all before the Interceptors are released. More probes will die, but so will all the anti-air. There's no chance of dealing with that with Hydralisks. Astrea, hard fought, but takes one back. He's not going down that easy. A bit shaky, but that's Astrea in a nutshell. Not a bit shaky, but he's building up this essentially unbeatable. He has an enrage timer. Eventually, Astrea will have an army that beats yours. And it doesn't matter. Like, it will win the fight. Most of the secret is in stopping him from getting there, as Reynor has done in 2 out of 3 games so far. Ah, yes. Very nice of them to, here on Match Point on Stargazers, to switch colors just to make it more confusing. Keep casters on their toes. Thank you, guys. At least it's not a mirror matchup here. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I'd like to thank the edutainment cast. And a little bit of a different take than your average live cast. Not a more honest one, but a more realistic one in many cases. Where I sit here easily beaten by either of these players. 100 games out of 100. But still criticize them for those silly mistakes. Thank you for watching. Oh my god. I can't actually read. Jimmy. Reynor. He's blue, yeah. No, not Jimmy Reynor. No relation. Is this 3 hatch before pool? You greedy... Astrea did not probe scout. I believe this is... Yeah. This is an American build. Oh, I've only really seen Neeb do this. I guess... Okay, occasionally there's Protoss who will try it, but... I'm personally not a huge fan. It feels like you gotta get the probe in there just to raise their blood pressure. If you don't probe scout, you can't make them feel so safe like this. Though if Astrea has this clear-cut, perfectly timed out build behind, I'm gonna look silly, of course, but... Reynor gets away with a 3-hatch before pull, though that isn't the end of things, because when you go 3-hatch before pull, your queens are delayed. You don't actually really have the income to make drones constantly. If you take any early damage, you're stretched very thin against things like Adepts and Oracles. It can kick in, but it's actually much more vulnerable in the early opening minutes of the game. Of course, if Reynor manages to kill an Adept, or an Oracle, or... I'm sorry. I didn't... Just that Adept being dead and no longer being able to scout or even potentially come back to defend the third. Yeah, now Astrea has to use his Oracle to do an Adept's job, which is well below his pay grade. But there goes that energy. Not great. And now Reynor's economy, look at that. He's got sports, he's got queens, he's at the drone count that he can continue droning, which is just a positive feedback loop. And as the injects kick in, his income is going to explode, especially considering Astrea. He got a quick third, but not in comparison that quick. He's taking that back base. A couple more lings on the way, but it's a carrier rush. Maybe, you know, I give it about a 37.4 repeating chance of Tempest on this map. I think it's carriers, but I cannot rule out the Tempest. And using that airspace would be a very interesting play as well. Oh, this is the air map. I mean, Stargazers is one letter away from Stargaters, so... A shield battery, if Reynor scouts it. If he wasn't already suspicious. What's it gonna be? Straight to carriers. Here we go. I mean, the quicker Astrea has gotten carriers, the more success he's had in games thus far. And you might be like, Winter, he didn't get carriers in the first 2 games. To which I say, and your point is? Queen's discouraging the Oracles, but he's going to spot the 4th, which should give some of this away. He actually sees the Evolution Chamber here. No, wait, no, he didn't. That also is some information, not huge, but we're constantly trying to see, are you going all in? Is there going to be, does he just happen to be building a Spire? Occasionally players will try that. A Nidus? All these things are relevant. Now he's definitely seen the Evo, and he slaps the Revelation. It's definitely a slap. Like, you just litter bombed that entire area. But with, like, camera drones or something. I don't know. Psi energy. Whatever. Nanites. Oh, God, it is just... Well, it's a Spire, but... I think he knows what... Yeah. He already knew beforehand. There is no response. The Hydras are not anti-air units. That is a mistake some players have made before, including Reynor in the last game. Hydras are there to discourage small amounts of air that can't really fight back, but they are not an anti-carrier unit. By any means. Queens? In low numbers? Sure. Well, here we go. Brenda, why are we fighting massive capital ships? Because who else will? You've got a point, Susan. You've got a point. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. Maybe we should get a buff. Shh. Just don't let him think about us. Good defusal on the stasis there. Activates the oracles. A very frustrated activation. You can kind of feel it there. Astrea now getting approximately everything behind this. He's got Robo Bay, Templar Archives, another base, +1 air charge, +1 ground, some more cannons, and a new car. Reynor just has an overseer. Like, I don't know if interceptors are the most efficient drone harass unit. Oh, Oracle's definitely doing a better job so far. Well, Mutas. Wow, he's just gonna go straight to Mutas. Corruptors are admitting defeat. This is a very Reynor choice, though. Mutas are definitely not as good in small numbers at killing carriers, but they have more utility than just killing carriers. Will that be enough? Reynor's at 91 drones. Astrea's at 86 probes, so not slouching. The Muta, I don't know if they've been spotted. The sheer amount. Yeah, you really want some Phoenixes mixed in. Astrea agrees, but he's going to agree after losing a dozen probes or so. And possibly all the defenses at this base. Is that so many Mutas they kill carriers? Well, it is now. He's gonna lose a lot of it. He's not in a shield battery range. He lost 2. There is no world where Muta should kill 2 carriers, especially when the carriers already have +1. Oh, that's like, I can forgive the first one. The second one was unnecessary. That was unforced errors there, really. Corruptors on the way behind. Anticipating the Phoenixes. Corruptor's also a good Phoenix counter, but the Mutas do force them out. This is Reynor trying his best to disrupt, some puns intended, any plans Astrea had for his army. You gotta be careful, don't shoot your own cannons. Wow, the creep spread. Look at Reynor just grabbing the map. Reynor using the Alarak announcer, how appropriate. What does Astrea have? I love the choice. He has a mad scramble to deal with Mutas, is what he has. Wait, are they both using Alarak? Okay. What a play. Phoenix range, no Phoenix range, only 2 Phoenixes. He didn't get baited into making like 12 of them. Ultraless Cavern on the way is Reynor now in the driver's seat. He gets to dictate the tech tree. And Astrea just has to chase him down it. More Phoenixes come up to intercept. Oh no! They intercepted way too hard. Oh, he's just trying to DPS the carriers, even through battery overcharge. But an Archon is getting involved. The battery itself dies, targeting down disruptors. It's falling apart right now for Astrea. It's been kind of dismantled somewhat throughout this game, but it's getting worse and worse. Oh my god, it's a disaster! 40 probes slaughtered mercilessly by slow banelings. 44, he's down under that number. Astrea has come a long way in the last few years. He's climbed the professional ladder up to near the top But here's Reynor standing on the pedestal with a boot in his face. Oh, it has been all Reynor with a handful of interruptions in this series. I mean, they're still carriers, which is always something you gotta keep in mind. Can he pull it right now? Can Astrea pull it Obi-Wan and jump up and slice Reynor in half with magic powers? Unfortunately, most of his magic power units have been destroyed. And that's gonna make it difficult. Yeah, Reynor lost a lot of mutas, but he's gonna replace them with a lot of Lisks. Ultras, that is, to fight the ground army. Corruptor Ultralisk. Honestly, though, Astrea, you know what? I take it back. He didn't yet. I don't take it back. I didn't say that Reynor had yet kicked him in the face. I just implied he was going to. And right now, Astrea is holding. God, that stasis. Nearly perfect, but not quite. The base just died. He just kills it with Zerglings. Oh my god. The Archon count is so damn high, but at the same time, the Zealots find the gold. It's something. Astrea not done yet. God, his army is so good. But he can't get he can't move out. Every time he moves out, 40 more Zerglings show up. You can't go anywhere. That's a campaign army. I'm an expert now. It's a nightmare for someone. Oh my. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the campaign ultras, but it should be good enough. Even off creep with no transfuse, he gets a lick of it there. The Corruptors targeting down. The Ultras are absorbing the Archon hits. The literal meat shields to block for the Corruptors. It's not perfect. Some more Zerglings coming in. And Astrea will hold. Oh, and the Queens. The Queens need reinforcement. There's a War Prism with our... Right now, we've gone too far! Astrea chases. They're back on creep. Transfuses come through. Some of the carriers targeted down. The Ultras are absorbing the Archon splash well enough to avoid eating too much on the Corruptors, but the Corruptor count was still too low. He rebuilt 15. There's only 4 carriers on the field. Once they're eliminated, does he have a Greater Spire? He doesn't. So this might actually be the scenario with dead supply. Oh, the recall. He does lose a carrier, but honestly, another great... Oh no! He recalled to the wrong base! No! All his Archons are stuck! Oh, he's mining through it! Oh, it was great until he... Oh, no! He's like, ah, shit, guys! Hurry up! Come on! I'm waiting! One at a time! One at a time! Oh, my God. So, the recall automatically goes to the nearest base with energy unless you micro it. In this case, by a narrow margin, well... Come on! Hurry up! Don't we have mules? Why did the Terrans get all the advanced technology? That doesn't make any sense. Ah! Oh, come on! No! He just finished! Ah! Not like this! He finally unlocks the Archons, but the Ultras... Oh, no! At the last moment, Astrea proving his NA... his NA heritage. Because that was a full NA move. Oh, no. And it all comes apart. The army. A disaster. And it was close. Astrea had a potential army. Like, I gotta go back. Before this fight, like, is it great for Astrea? No. Is it possible? With 7 Archons? It's still bad. It's still really bad. But with 7 more Archons, it's definitely much more of a fight. Without them, it's just bullying. Well, Reynor brings the boot down. The Rhino stomps through. Oh, God. A well-deserved victory. Astrea fought hard. But Reynor was just too much. Thank you for watching. Thank you, TakeTV Homestory Cup. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you check out. Jim put this one up there for you. I hope you enjoy that as well. Thank you. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck. Have fun. Stay tuned.